Well, welcome again, everyone. So happy we can all be together, at least on this, in this way. And I just want to invite you all to get a little tiny bit more comfortable if you can. See if it's possible to shift your body and kind of sit in a little deeper into your body. And I don't know if you were here last week when we had the inimitable Bhikkhu Bodhi. If not, please, you can, it was recorded, so you will be able to access it. So no worries. It was pretty awesome. So tonight we're going to focus on fear and anxiety and how we can meet it to reduce our suffering. So we're going to talk about how we can use our fear as a pointer to develop courage and confidence. Confidence in our ability to respond to our fear versus run away, deny it, or distract from it. Facing it versus postponing it reduces our suffering. So fear is pretty much our constant companion in the best of times. You know that feeling that, the other shoe is about to drop and, we all kind of know what that feels like. So it's nothing to be afraid of. But these aren't the best of times. Though it's an ordinary feeling state, fear hinders our capacity to respond to the challenges we all face now on this beautiful planet. So we're living in a time where hatred seems rampant. As calm, civil discourse, respectful disagreement seems like a thing of the past, doesn't it? Ugly lies, a disregard for the truths of science, and an atmosphere of us versus them has created a culture of distrust and incivility. Though it is uplifting the unprecedented number of people showing up to support change, we know deep injustice continues. And we're living through a vicious pandemic with terrible pain and suffering. So it's no wonder that anxiety and depression are reportedly on the rise right now. Life is hard. We must learn to care for ourselves better, and then we'll truly care for each other better. Working towards solutions, both inner and outer, requires a cool head and a compassionate heart. It requires mindfulness, right? To discern what the mind is dishing up. Perhaps the habit of worry that usually starts with the words, but what if? But what if? This is a mind habit. It's not an inherent flaw in anyone. So this is a good time to practice not believing our thoughts just because they bubble up and seem convincing. This is a good time for the Mark Twain quote, one of my favorite go-tos. Mark Twain said, "I'm an old man. I've had many troubles in my life, but most of them never happened." So I think we can all relate to that to some degree. So we need discernment, courage, and energy to find and do what we can to navigate this mind in these times. So I love this quote by Lieutenant John B. Putnam Jr. He was an American fighter pilot in World War II. He said, "Courage is not the lack of fear, but the ability to face it." Courage is not the lack of fear, but the ability to face it. So tonight we'll focus on how to bring more compassion to the worried heart, more courage to the suffering mental states of fear and worry, and more kindness to each other. With the support of practice, we develop the courage we need to respond in new ways to our inherent condition and to the social, political, environmental problems we face. Unchecked fear hinders our capacity to meet difficulties. But we learn to befriend our fear. Fear can become like a respected confidant pointing the way to courage. Developing courage, our ability to face challenges, empowers us and energizes us. So as usual, the Buddhist scheme finds the beginning starts within each of us. So cultivating compassion for yourself manifests as compassion and caring concern for others. Courage with compassion is a powerful state of being. If you don't believe me, think about just about every superpower, superhero. What does all the superheroes have? They all have courage, and they're all motivated by a deep, caring concern for humanity. So they have courage and compassion. We too can act not out of hatred or fear, but a caring heart of courage. So, but again, it starts within oneself. As Ayya Khema, I'm going to read you a quote by her. She's the German Buddhist nun known for her no-nonsense wisdom. She says, compassion arises when one realizes the suffering, the unsatisfactoriness that exists within oneself. Only then can we feel with another person. Otherwise, one is still under the delusion that everything is all right with oneself, that it's only other people who are having a bad time. If one sees clearly within oneself all the unsatisfactory states that arise in quick succession, the likes and dislikes, the regrets and the resentments, the fears and the worries, the tensions, then one knows that everyone is subject to the same. Then when someone else is having a difficult time, one can feel with that person because one knows about one's own problems. So let's be clear that these are deeply destructive and disturbing times. But as Ayya Khema is saying, know yourself and know others as a result. So we try to be aware of what is driving our mind state so we can discern what's motivating our thoughts, speech, and actions in order to meet it skillfully. This is where courage is needed. We develop courage meeting our mind and heart in meditation. So Bhante Gunaratana, in his book Mindfulness in Plain English, wonderful book, he addresses a more existential fear that we all experience. He says, you may be dealing with the fear that we all fear of the unknown. At some point in your meditation career, you will be struck with the seriousness of what you are actually doing. You are tearing down the wall of illusion you have always used to explain life to yourself and to shield yourself from the intense flame of reality. You are about to meet ultimate truth face to face. That is scary, but it has to be dealt with eventually. Go ahead and dive right in. So maybe you relate to this description as I do at times, feeling like sometimes I feel like I'm free falling while meditating. It's a scary feeling. Often in my case, I have an image of slipping off the edge of a skyscraper and falling. And I see it as it's a result of letting go of the controlling ego mind and becoming the witness And at first it feels insecure. It feels untethered. The observer just sees it. So it's the truth of not being in control of anything truly. And soon the feeling dissipates and calm concentration is more established. Maybe you experience that. So first, we meditate. Okay? We try to be mindful. We then detect the hindrance to mindfulness, that is fear. That is aversion giving rise to restlessness and worry. We sit and experience this energy of not feeling completely safe. The underlying sense is that we should have our guard up, some level of armor to protect us as we move through the moments of our sit or of our day. Anxiety that is such a steady companion we may come to see as part of our character. But in time, we're getting wiser and more courageous. Bhante G again, he says, when you let fear run its course in the arena of conscious attention, it won't sink back into the unconscious. It won't come back to haunt you later. It will be gone for good. So lately I've been paying attention to my mind's constant reaction to sights, sounds, thoughts, smells, etc. It's a constant stream of judging, likes and dislikes, and incessantly drawing conclusions. For instance, I'll see the calendar I have hanging in the bathroom and find my mind jumping to the dates on the calendar and what's going to happen when and what it's going to be like. And when should I prepare for it? And I'm reviewing again. Do I really need to review again what's coming up in the calendar for the umpteenth time? This is obsessive thinking. The replays, the repeats. It's tedious and habitual. Or a thought might pop up, and here's what would it be like to experience the COVID virus? This has been on the top 10 playlist lately, of course. So what would it be like? And then sends me on this long train of thoughts of eventually leaving me with fear and worry that linger until I become aware and ground myself in the moment. So learning to be with this sense of insecurity as I would be caring for a dear friend, the feeling passes and I'm at ease. I'm back in the present moment. So it's about waking up and not about pushing away fear or any unpleasant emotion. It's about this being with and allowing it to pass through. So fear arises out of this false sense that things are not as they should be, as we would like them to be. This pervading sense of unsatisfactoriness. Remember the name of it? Dukkha. So it's mental suffering, and once recognized, we'll loosen its grip on our hearts. It's that Mara, I see you. Being seen, it loses its power. Seeing the suffering from craving and bringing compassion and kindness to our vulnerable heart transforms us over time. Otherwise, we continue to suffer, and as meditators, we directly see that this wanting, it only creates more suffering. And that leaves us depleted and depressed. So times like these, with the pandemic, the virus lurking behind perhaps the friendliest of faces, more and more awareness of systemic racism embedded in our society, and the atmosphere of tribalism in politics putting us in different camps with self-righteous anger, and a pandemic of hatred fueled by the highest levels of government, all contribute to this feeling of generalized fear and unease. So it's a good time to be aware with a clear mind and open heart, a good time for courage. So I came across this quote over the weekend when I was preparing for this, and it's brand new. It's by Jack Kornfield. He says, when we work with the fearful mind, we will initially become afraid. However, at some point, if we open our eyes and our heart to the fearful mind and gently name it, fear, 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 experiencing its energy as it moves through us, the whole sense of fear will shift and eventually become recognition. Oh, fear, here you are again. I know you. How interesting that you've come. He continues, make friends with your fear. From this foundation of loving awareness and acceptance, we learn that it's okay to feel fear. From this practicing meditation with patience and courage, we can gradually learn how to feel the floods of strong emotions, fear, grief, and to allow them to slowly release with mindfulness. Jack says, we learn to see the endless mental stories that repeat over and over again with the resources of mindfulness and compassion to let them go to the steady mind and return to the present. Befriending fear becomes a gateway to freedom, an invitation to learn, an invitation to live more fully with trust and love. I love that quote. So we can feel fear in our bodies, in our bellies, and maybe higher up. These are kind of ways to tune into that it's present. We might not be aware that it's present. So you might notice it in your solar plexus, your belly, maybe your shoulders tighten, or your eyes or jaw. You might notice it in some of these, it's like the body defending. So we do have to remember that pain is inevitable in life. We're not going to be completely at ease all the time. That's just not how we are, physical and emotional. So we're not in the business of denying it or pushing it away or disrespecting it in any way. So we learn to courageously let go of trying to control. Okay? We know the feeling when sitting that we really can't control much. Even to focus the mind on the breath can often be fruitless. In this present moment, we cannot change the external circumstances that are true, but we can learn to meet our fearful mind state. Buddhist teacher Larry Rosenberg writes, finally you get to the point where you can just be with the fear. You realize the futility of your escapes. They don't work. They never worked. There is a far greater fulfillment in staying with the fear. We see that fear isn't something we own or have any control over. We've been living as if we do, as if we should be able not to feel it. But all we can do is meet it skillfully. Love that line. We've been living as if we do have control over it, as if we should be able to not feel it. So you're not doing anything wrong. It's not anything to judge or be disappointed in terms of your mind's habits. Please remember that. Let's put a hand on our heart for a moment to remember that. Okay? We all have wounds. Some of us or some of our loved ones have deep scars. Fear can masquerade as anger or hatred. It's more empowering to hate than feel fear. Maybe you've heard this. Hurt people. And healed people heal people. Our practice can not only heal us and reduce our suffering, but we can become healers for others. So we must get to know our fear. We must know our hatred, our judging, self-righteous anger. We must own our negativity and practice with it. with a kind and forgiving patience toward ourselves, we can see, wait a minute, where am I? We practice bringing, with a kind and forgiving patience, we learn the art of compassion. We practice bringing patience and forgiveness to ourselves. Forgiveness is a really important practice because we are going to make mistakes. We are going to say the wrong thing. We are going to do what we wish we hadn't done. We're human. So if we develop this feeling of safety and forgiveness and kindness toward ourselves, we will automatically offer this to others. We won't have to force it or make it a goal or a resolution to be kinder or more compassionate. One of my favorite quotes is from the Talmud. It's, we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. So my heart is going out to my friend of late who is dealing with, she's anticipating the first anniversary of her husband's death next month. Her fear of feeling her grief, or rather getting consumed by grief, keeps her frantically busy. She says, if I don't have my days completely filled up, I get really, really sad and I feel really lonely. So fear of feeling her grief is driving her to distraction, literally. She's not a meditator, and I wish she had these tools to be with her grief. So I support her by listening with compassion. So I have a practice of trying to get my heart right before I leave the house for my morning walk with my meditation and metta. Then I'm that extrovert lady that greets every person walking by. I'm amazed at how many people will seem to be in their own guarded bubble. And the moment I smile at them and say, good morning, they instantly beam and smile. And I've noticed the more reticent people who are looking down or away, when I greet them, they can't help but to greet me back. And if we loop around again, the next time they're friendlier, they seem to feel safer. So I encourage you to try it because it's a real uplifter. So I'm just going to end this talk with a very short quote by the Dalai Lama, very wise one. Stay positive. It feels better. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and we will have a chat box going here. And let me see how I can, make it go on the side, because right now it's in the middle covering your faces. Oh, there it is, it's on the side, okay. While people are doing that, I will go ahead and give the announcements. And there's just a couple, this time a few. So the first one is that coming up on Saturday, August 15th, so it's another while away, we have a community service event. It's Second Harvest Food Bank, Saturday, August 15th, 9 to noon. And Second Harvest has CDC, they follow CDC guidelines and procedures for safety with, masks and gloves and sanitizer and very much distant. So consider that if you feel comfortable. And the fall book club that Joy will be she's always leading so beautifully. It is going to begin Thursday, September 3rd. She's coming up, well, in a while. And the book Joy has chosen is Deep Hope by Diane Eshin Rosetto. And this is all on the website. Her contact information, which you need to contact Joy so she'll know how many. She usually gets a lot of people. It's on the website. So check our website, imccharlotte.org, for other upcoming events and changes to events. And finally, if you would like to support our community with a donation financially, you can do that on our website. There's PayPal and I believe Venmo and maybe other ways. So please feel free to support us, and consider when we get back together, you could support us with your volunteering. So let me get to these questions now. Okay, some thanks. Okay, yes, I will. Denise has an announcement, so I'm going to unmute her for a moment. She's going to offer an announcement to us. It says, I just clicked ask to unmute, so now you yeah. There you go, Denise. Hi,
Hello,
Denise.
everyone. Hi there. So I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome our new board members who are volunteering to help make the Sangha still run, especially even during this time of the pandemic. We have all these changes. So we have 3 new members to the board. We have Kathy Francis.
Yay.
And yay. And we also have Elizabeth Kabalka. And Yijun Lin. So we are so grateful for them joining the board with all of their skills and talents and generosity to continue to make the Dharma flow in the Charlotte and greater region. And we want to so gratefully thank the outgoing board members, Yvonne McCracken, always so wise and insightful on the board over the last 2 years. I'm sure you're all familiar with Adrienne Price. She's the one who is our treasurer and our chair of the finance department, who was superb, to say the least, keeping us salient. And Clyde Alexander. And Clyde has served us for 8 years, and we can't say enough for everything that he has done for the Sangha and all the program committee and the PR that he has chaired and everything he has done for the Sangha. So I know you've seen these wonderful people when we were together in the chapel. I hope you're seeing them here on Zoom. And if you are so inspired to join any kind of committee or the board, please get in touch with me. I'd be happy to tell you more about what that is involving. And thank you to all new committee members also. Okay, the other announcement is that we will be at the end of, let's see, it's the end of July, so it's next week, will be our last email announcement with the links for the programming. We will have a standard link every week on the website, imccharlotte.org. And if you'll please just go in there, it's the very first thing that pops on the screen, and you can just pop in there for either our advanced practice or the introduction or for the Dharma talk and meditation. So thank you. And I'm sorry, but one last one. Our Sangha member Raz, who is normally with us, has not been able to join us virtually. He has had some tough times. It would be wonderful if we can remember him in our metta. And he wants to thank quite a number of folks in the Sangha who have really reached out to him and submitted food and other things to be a support of him. So virtually, I tell you, thank you from Roz.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Denise. Okay. So let's get to these questions. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any questions. Just there's a comment that it's a lovely comment. Great talk with wonderful comments, Debbie. I feel like a plus side of the pandemic slowdown in my case is that there's less on the calendar, so not as much there to be anxious about. It's an opportunity, especially when following the path you describe. Sitting with what is right now seems rich with teachings, and what you're saying helps to go in that direction. Good. Thank you. Thank you for much needed reminder. Thank you. Appreciate your words. Well, thank you all. Let's see. Okay. I'm so happy that I just so you know, if I'm feeling away, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So if I'm talking about fear, guess what? That's what I'm working with. So we will now settle in for metta. And we're going to be focusing on compassion for loving kindness and compassion, which are really close relatives. Loving kindness is said to be the foundation for all the Brahma Viharas. Compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. So please, let's settle in and maybe close your eyes again if you're comfortable. And I love this. My teacher gave me these words to sit in a little deeper in your body. So kind of just let your body deeply soften. And this is an act of compassion, how we hold our bodies. Our meditation practice is in itself an act of compassion. So let's begin with ourselves. And just wishing ourselves that may I feel safe and protected. May I be healthy in my body and my mind. May I be free from fear and worry. May I be truly free from suffering. May I be at ease, content, at ease. And bringing to mind a person or persons or beings or a being that you'd like to hold in your heart, loving kindness and compassion. May you feel protected and safe. May you be healthy in body and mind. May you be free from worry, from anxiety. May you be free from suffering. May you be at ease, content, peaceful, at ease. Now opening our hearts to each other in this Sangha, to our community here in Charlotte, to our region, our country, to all the suffering in the world, people everywhere who suffer. And then include all the beings, the animals, all sentient beings. May all everywhere feel protected and safe. May all everywhere be healthy in body and in mind. May all be free from worry, anxiety, and fear. May all be free from suffering. May all be at ease, contented, at ease. And I'd like to add one more level of metta and compassion for all those on the front lines of the struggle for in meeting the pandemic, the suffering, this front lines of hospital workers, maintenance workers, people who really are risking their own well-being for others. May you feel protected and safe. May each of you be healthy in your bodies and minds, hearts. May you be free from worry and anxiety, from any suffering. May you be at ease. May you be content with all you're offering, all you're doing for the good of all, for the common good, for each person you're helping. May you be content and at ease. Well, I hope to see you all in person one day. And this too shall pass. Everybody have a lovely evening. Oh, and also please contact Gail Goforth to sign up for Second Harvest. And that'll be on the website, I'm sure. And can you recommend specific suttas on this subject? Bye, everybody else. I would say the suttas on the Brahma Viharas that really help you to feel safe and help you to, ride the challenges of life, the difficult emotions. So I don't know. You can Google, metta. Google the Brahma Viharas, I would say, and you'll find. Yeah. Okay. Good night, everybody. Bye. Bye. Bye.